every time you sign a new client, your team spends up to 3 hours chasing them for the contracts, getting the signature, creating the Slack channel, creating the drive folder, creating the assets, creating all the follow-up emails, all that stuff. 3 hours is what your team spends for onboarding a client. And it takes days. 3 hours for every single client. If you suddenly onboarded 10 new clients, that's about 30 to 40 hours that you are spending on onboarding. Is that the best use of your time? No. And right now, there are other businesses out there that are doing this in less than 10 minutes with automations and systems. That's it. And with automations, there is less stress, faster onboarding, faster signature collection, and no one's missing a step because bots don't make mistakes. For those who don't know me, my name is Fahad. I run a company called Automate My Biz. We're a team of 15 and we've built AI-powered systems for big influencers such as Nas Daily, co-host with the Dave Ramsey Show, Anthony O'Neill, Love by Mike, Overlord, Bad Marketing, and billion-dollar VC firms like Group 11. So before you hire an operations person to onboard early clients, watch this video. And this is especially important if you're in the service business, if you're an agency, if you're a law firm or a consultant that has a lot of these onboarding things. And if you tried to do this before and you still feel like you're messy and inconsistent, or if you never tried to automate this but know that it's something that you should be working on, you need to watch the entire video because I'll be breaking down everything in 5 simple steps. 5 simple steps, I'll be breaking down how you can automate your entire onboarding process, whichever business you're in. Let's get into it. So 5 simple steps is what you need to do to set up this entire automation, and in this video I'll be going over each and every step. So first step is triggering the automation, whether it could be from CRM or forms, we'll get to that later. Step 2 is contracting and invoicing, which is the most important part of them all, which is sending the contracts and getting a payment. And once those things are done, creating the relevant onboarding materials, just Slack, Drive, all the stuff. Next thing would be onboarding form, so sending the right intake form to collect all the details. And lastly would be creating the relevant assets as needed for your business. Now, few things that are must have for this video to actually fully work for you is, I assume that you have an automation tool to do these things. In order for you to build an automation, you need to have a system or you need to have a software or a tool that allows you to build these automations out. So tools like Zapier, Make.com, N8N, Pabbly, or even internal automation tools from your platform could work, but we need to have an automation tool for this video to actually be actionable for you. Next steps is having a form building tool. We'll be playing around with a bunch of forms to automate a bunch of the processes. So we assume you have a form building tool, and good to have. Highly recommended things for this video to work really well is that you have a good CRM and you have an e-signing tool. It's not fully needed, but it's good to have. All right. With that being said, let's get into the video. So the first step is basically triggering the automation. You could trigger this automation ideally in a CRM. Why in a CRM? Firstly, you should be having a CRM at this point, yeah? So if you're doing it into the CRM, you store all the information in the CRM, then you trigger the automation from the CRM. If you're not there yet, maybe if your business doesn't need a proper CRM at this point, which I don't know which businesses that you have, but you need to have a CRM. But anyways, you could use an intake form which triggers the whole automation, some sort of form. All right. So I'm going to be going with the example of CRM. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. All right. So you see, this is my CRM system. All right. There is a bunch of things, as you can see, a bunch of stuff in here. And the way I start my automation is when they are moved to the stage called contract. It used to be called onboarding. I changed it to contract yesterday. As soon as I move them here, my entire automation starts. All right. Now, before I move them there, I don't simply move them there. I add all the details in that I need for the next step, which is contracting. There is few things that my contracting needs. I need to have the value of the contract. I need to have the company name. I need to have what type of service they opted for. I need to have the type. Sometimes we have fixed pricing projects, we have hourly code projects, we have retainer projects. All of them have different documents. That's the only difference. So I have an automation that basically sends different contracts based on which type I have. For you guys, most of you guys out there, 90% of them, this is completely irrelevant. So ignore this. But the most important part of them all, I'm getting there, is this field. I have a section called contract fields. In order for my contract to be fully valid without me doing anything, I need to have few things like scope, timeline, start date, how many installments do we have, all the things that I change in my contract, right? I have a field in here. For example. So this is what my contract looks like. So anything that keeps changing for each contract, they're in curly brackets. Things like company name changes every time, the person's country changes every time, their city, the project scope. We have 3 different scopes. The number of installments we have, and how the installment is split up. Sometimes they have a payment of 2, but first is collected upfront, last is collected after, maybe last is collected in the middle. So everything differs, right? things like when do we start, how long the project is going to be. So those are the only few things that keep changing for every project. So only those details, I have it in here. As you can see, project scope 1, 2, 3, installments, when do we start the contract, the installment text, that is how do we divide the installment. If it's an installment of 3, what does it look like? First is this, then it's this, then it's this. Type that in here. And I put their address, I put their city, their state, the timeline of the project, how long is it going to be. So that's that. So I just need to fill this information. All I need to do is once I update these information, put them in the contract stage, and boom, the contract is sent out. So how did I set up this automation? I'm going to show you 2 things: how I set up this automation, how you in your CRM can set up the same thing. Let me show you how I set it up. So this is a CRM tool that I use called Go High Level. I love Go High Level, been using it for quite some time. And the way I set up this automation is very simple. The automation triggers when it's moved to this onboarding contract stage. So the way I set up this automation is a bit complex because as an automation engineer, I'm going to over engineer shit and I have a bunch of other nuances involved. But for you guys, please don't get worried with what you see right here. So all you need to do is have a trigger. So this in Go High Level, you have a trigger module that starts the automation. Then you have these, you see plus buttons. These are actions, the things that you want to do. So all you need is 3 simple steps. All right. Trigger is when the deal is moved to the stage called contract or onboarding, start the automation. That's what I did right here. You see, it's pipeline change is changed. That's the trigger. So there's different triggers. For me, I selected pipeline. When the stage is changed to something else, that's when it needs to be triggered. I need to choose which stage it is. I need to choose the contract stage. Yeah, next thing I did is I send there's a send contract document layer in Go High Level. I use that and then I just send it to them and it automatically recognizes who to send it to and it sends it. I put them in draft because I want to make some more changes. I just want to be really sure if I made everything right. But you can automatically send it without doing anything and it's going to send in the information so that they can sign it. All right. Now, this is in my CRM. Now, how do you do it in yours? If your CRM has the ability to send documents, e-signing documents, and has a workflow tool, it's very simple. Go to the contract and document section of your CRM if you're using HubSpot. Tools like that have e-signing tool. Go there, create the template, and then go to the workflows. And then all you do is exactly what I did. Triggers, send the document, and it automatically swaps the data. Now, maybe you don't have these fancy ass CRM tools, which is totally fine. How do you do it then? Very simple. Like I said, right, you need to have an automation tool. It could be Zapier. It could be Zapier like this, or it could be Make.com like this. If you're a beginner who's never done automations, go with Zapier. It's a very simple, easy to use tool. If you're a bad boy like me and it'll play around things, use Make.com because it has a bit of a learning curve, but it's not as hard as you think it is. How do you build this automation? So trigger and actions is how it goes. So you can trigger from this section. You can select your CRM. For example, if it's high level for me, there's going to be a Go High Level. There's going to be selection. There's going to be an option like this. I just select, just like I selected before, the stage is changed to this. I'm just going to, hey, watch contact has been, I'm just going to select that for the time being. Contact has been changed, something like that. And then now you send the document from either an e-signing tool like DocuSign, or like PandaDocs. In both of these platforms, all you need to do is basically take your template, take your contractual template and upload them to eSign platform. And in eSign platform, you need to map which fields are variable. Remember I said I had curly brackets in my CRM, just like that. Put curly brackets because some platform asks you to put curly brackets in there. Some platform asks you to drag and drop the field in there. PandaDocs, it's a bit different. Every platform is a bit different. And all you need to do is very simple. Use that PandaDocs. Use PandaDocs or whatever platform it is to send a contract in here. There's going to be an option called send contract. Yeah. So all you need to do is using the PandaDoc connection, create the document, and then it's going to show you the list. If you map it correctly, it's going to ask you hey, these are the things that you mapped. Do you have this information? All you need to do is map the values. So whenever, for example, I'm just going to run this, right? I'm just going to quickly run this. When I quickly run this, it's going to give me all the information. Every contact's information is going to give me in a bubble. I take that bubble, the token, and just paste them in here. Okay, name, it's this. Email, it's this. This thing, it's this. All right. So that's how you do it. So it's going to have options like this. All you need to do is take this location ID or contact ID or name or email or whatever it is and put them in that field. And then once the document is created, some tools allow you to have, there's going to be a button that says send document. You can do that, or sometimes you need to use a Gmail tool like this, send an email and then attach the document in there and it's going to e-sign. Some platforms work up different. Anyways, if you don't have the e-signing platform, right? If you don't have the e-signing platform, I have I have a trick for you. All right. So now if you don't have an e-signing tool and you still want to send a contract, I have a tip for you. Yeah. So this is an automation that I have to send my offer letters to my team members. For my clients, fancy e-signing tool. For my team, I don't give a shit. Again, they can just use whatever. They don't need fancy tools. So what I do is there's a thing called Google Docs template action that Google created, which allows you to create templatized documents. So just like PandaDocs and DocuSigns, you just put curly brackets where the values keep changing, and when you use them in here, they're going to ask you to fill those curly bracket fields out, and that's it. It's going to create documents from that template that you provide. So for example, this is a template that I have. You see, I have curly brackets for scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Now, if I use this thing called Google Docs, I'm going to go to Google Docs. I'm going to show you exactly which step it is. Create document from template. So once you find the document where your document is in, as you can see, it's showing me all the curly bracket information, date, company name, legal status. All I need to do is map them in here. The name can be, see, I'm going to mark the company name. You see this? I'm going to select this. I'm going to select this. I'm going to click on company name. I'm going to click on the country. The country is in here. State is in here. All the information is in here. Country is in here. All I need to do is do this. Click on this. And do you know what's going to happen? I'm going to type in a test. We have to choose where you want this to be uploaded as well. I'm going to choose some random location for now. And you know what's going to happen? Every time this trigger is created, it automatically creates this templatized document from the values that you inputted. And now all you need to do is send them an email. Is once this thing is created, there's an option called download. You have to download the document first, right? That's how it works. So you have to download the documents, click on document ID, just do this. I want to make it into a PDF. I want to send it a PDF to them. And then I send a very simple email. I send a Gmail. Let me send an email. I select their email, and in attachment, it's going to automatically map the document. And that's like, hey bitch, sign the docs. You stupid. So it's going to send them this document, and then they can automatically firstly map their email as well. Search for the email, where the email is, and it's going to automatically send them an email. It's that simple. So that's how you can send contracts. All right. So now that exciting part is covered. Once the contract is sent, you can also have automations to send invoices automatically. So depending on what you have, your e-signing tool can automatically send an invoice, or you can manually send an invoice. Sometimes the invoice is a bit tricky. So if you want to do this manually, it's totally cool. But if not, your CRM will have the capability to send the invoices. Well, for me, I collect invoices first. I have a custom invoice link, which I usually send to people. Then I send the contract. But if you want to do it in your CRM section, you can create an invoice like this, create an invoice. Or what I usually do is when the contract is signed, I have another automation that basically sends me an invoice for the exact amount. Yeah, for the exact amount that was quoted in this. I'll show you guys. I'll show that to you guys later. All right. I'll show that the entire automation. This is what the entire automation looks like. We'll get to that. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get that part. All right. So once the contract and invoicing is done, stage number 3, now that they're inside our organization, we need to move quick. So the first thing I would do is once the contract is signed up, and what I recommend you do as well is create all the things that you need to have a successful partnership. That is drive folders to store all the assets, Slack channel creation, inviting them to Slack or Teams or whatever it is that you usually invite them to, creating a project in your project management dashboard, and notifying your team, and then sending them the onboarding form. These are the 6 steps that I recommend anyone to do, right? How do we do this? So in my CRM, as soon as the quote is said, I have a very simple webhook. The webhook is basically, let's call it knock you on a door. That's it. To make it simple, we are knocking on a door. Webhook is knocking on a door. So we create a webhook action or knocking on a door, and all we need to do is specify which door to knock onto. And in the automation platform, so I need to create a trigger called webhook again. And this is called the door that's being knocked onto, the number of the door. Okay. So you just create a simple, call something like, hey, door number, or onboarding. Just call it onboarding automation. Test for YT. I'm just going to say that. And you click on save, and this is the door. You see address in the game. That's the number of the door. All you need to do is copy this, go back to your automation platform, and tell it like, hey, paste it there, and just paste the data there, and then like, hey, knock onto this door when the trigger, whatever trigger that you have. For me, it's contract is sent. You could be contract assigned from your CRM or from your e-signing platform. If you're using PandaDocs or whatever it is, whether you're using an e-signing platform or whether you're using a CRM, I like to use a CRM. I recommend you use a CRM. You could be like, hey, if the deal is marked as 1, trigger this automation call on this webhook. So you paste the address, the doorway you have to knock onto, and you need to give it a bunch of information. Because when you knock on the door, it opens, there is nothing there. What will I do? What will the person opening the door do? It can't do anything. But if you give it information, if you give it all the baskets, if you give it spicy masala, chicken, some more spicy masalas, and some gravy, it's gonna create chicken tikka masala. But if you don't do those things, you can't create chicken tikka masala, and we all love chicken tikka masala. So all we do is when you do that, in the CRM and whatever platform, you can choose the title and value. So it's called key and value. So basically, we are giving it a heading of this data, and we are giving the value of this data. So you make it, hey, the city name, and we just map it. So we map, I could type in Dubai, or we can map it. Tokens is basically the same city information of a contact, but we are telling this automation that, hey, take the, every contact that comes through this token signifies their city. That's all that is. But if you type in Dubai like this, every time this thing is triggered, no matter which city they are from, it's always going to say Dubai, because you hard-coded Dubai in there. But you don't want to hard-code Dubai in there. Every time someone else from different city comes in, it has to fetch that information. Different CRMs work different ways, but in this CRM, it's called tokens. Tokens is it's a token which points to that information. So when you send the data, it's going to fetch it from there and send it to there. So yeah, city. So for me to send a successful onboarding experience, I need company name, I need their name, I need their email, country, currency, the code of the project, installments, address, start date, and install types of installment, and that's it. That's the information I need. And then this automation starts, this beautiful automation starts. And then the first thing it does is creates the drive folder. Very simple to do. So once that thing is done, you see this, there is an action called create drive folder. Zapier has the same thing, create a drive folder. Click on the drive folder. There's an option called create a drive folder. Very simple. You create the drive folder in there with their name. I type in their name. If you just click on this option, you see, I put in the company name. The name of the company is the name of the folder. And then what I do is then I create a Slack channel. Now I do a few things differently. Okay. Whenever you're creating a Slack channel, you can't just put in the company name, because their company name could have spaces. So you need to follow these functions. It's like, in Excel, you have custom formulas, right? Like, equal to, if, else condition, stuff like that. This is just a function to make this Slack friendly. So whenever you're creating a Slack, even when you create a Slack channel, right? So when you go in here, I can't just type in, hey there. You see, it's going to automatically convert the spaces. I can't add spaces. I can't put commas and. It's going to be like, hey, sorry, your things can't have and, your things can't have space. Stuff is automatically converts space into dots. But when you're using automations, it doesn't have that functionality. So all I did is I tell this that, hey, if there is a space involved, replace a space with a dash. That's it. That's all I'm telling it to do. And I ask it to lower because you see, everything is lower volume, right? If I try to capitalize it, it doesn't capitalize. I tell it to, hey, lowercase it. And hey, replace the space with this. Just copy paste this. Okay, just copy paste. Just type in what I need to do is type in replace. Okay, type in replace, and then you see this the brackets. Just type in that replace and then brackets. Replace brackets. Put the company name in there. The value of the company name is type in company name brackets. Once you put the company name, you click on this button. This character, and then you specify what you want to replace it with. I'm telling it, hey, replace space. For space, there's an option called space in here. If you go in here, see, there's an option for space. So we tell, hey, because if I put random space, it's gonna get a bit glitchy. So I specify the space open, and I tell, hey, if it's space, replace it with this dash or this. I'm gonna see it as dash, and that's it. And then I'm gonna use another token called lower, like I said, brackets, and then put them all in this bracket. So it's going to lower everything. It's that simple. So that's basically the function I did. You can do the same thing. Okay, you can do the same thing. It's going to create the channel. I like to have a small appendix. I think not appendix. Not appendix. It's an acronym, I believe. Let me search for it. Prefix. Iron. I don't know why I said appendix. So anyways, I just like to have the client dash before adding those things. Now we create a Slack channel using create channel action from make.com. Zapier has the same thing. Now, if you want to invite them in, that's a bit tricky because only enterprise plans can do that. If you have enterprise, it's very simple. There's going to be an action. Invite user, you can do that, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't have it. If you're not an enterprise plan user, you can just simply come in here and add them in here. That's it. Unless all your channels are public, then you can just directly add them in. This is so anyways. So coming back, so once you create the drive folder, you created the assets. The next thing I do is I have an automation that basically creates the client and the project in my project management database. For me, I use Notion. For you guys, it could be Asana, ClickUp, Monday.com, whatever it is, right? Could be even a Google Sheet. So create that thing. I create the client in Notion and I create the project in Notion. It's very simple. Click on this option. I select the database where I want the database I use, the spreadsheet like database I use, and I type in their information. I map their client name, start date, end date, and I create a project. And once that is done, I need to notify my team, right? And that's when I notify my team with a message like this. Hey, we have a new client. I add all the information like this. Like a new client onboarded, name, email, service, start date, timeline, who is assigning. It's a hard-coded text. Only these things change. And it looks something like this. And it's been massively helpful for me and my team for us to know exactly when a client is coming in. You see, hey, new client came in, this client, these are the service, these are the scope, this is when we start, and these are who the assignees are. It just lets them be prepared for the new client that's coming in. And I send a welcome email, all right? A welcome email is sent to the client with all the information. I'm just going to show you exactly what the welcome email looks like. So this basically doesn't directly send it, right? That's the beautiful part. I could technically make it send the onboarding emails immediately, but I wanted to put it in draft because I just want to be sure that it was done correctly. So if I go to my drafts right here, see the automation automatically written the entire email for me. And I could automatically send this. I have a bit of OCD where I want to add some more extra things in there to make it more personalized. So I don't want to send it out, right? I want to add some jokes in there or something like that. So, but for the most part, I tell them that, hey, your contract has been sent. I specify the onboarding form because the onboarding form is where the magic happens, all right? So contract onboarding form, I give them the link to book an onboarding call. Once the form is sent, I even tell them Slack invite to send. That's it, all right? So now we talked about how to send a Slack invite, drive folder, creating the assets, and even sending a Slack message along with emailing them with all the information such as, hey, we did these things for you, we created the drive, we created the Slack, we did this. The only thing that you need to do is submit this onboarding form. Now, what is this onboarding form? Now, one thing I need to know is that every business has an onboarding process where you ask a bunch of questions to your customers to get information so you can do the next steps. For law firms, you need to know information. For diverse law firms, you need to know information like, hey, do you have a site check? How many kids do you have? How many properties do you have? If you're an agency owner, you need to have access to their Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, logins to that, their assets, what ad campaign spending that they have, all this information, right? Why do you want to jump on a call and ask these things all the time? And you can create a form asking these same repetitive questions and make them fill this form before they jump on a call. So that's what we did. And not just that, this also allows you to automate a bunch of things as well. So not only are you going to create a form that's going to save you a bunch of hours asking the same repetitive questions that you ask every single person, you can also have this form automated to a bunch of other stuff. So let's get back to the thing. So once you create all these things, you send the onboarding form. This is my onboarding form. So you can create this onboarding form in any tool. I use Jot Forms. I kind of like Jot Forms. It's free to use. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to go to jotforms.com. So this is what my Jot Forms looks like. It's very easy to create Jot Forms or Type Forms or Google Forms. Just select the form that you have, select the questions you want to ask, and that's it. It's that simple. That's easy. That's how easy it is to create a form. I have a very detailed form. For example, if I select automation, I have a bunch of questions for automation. Hey, what are your biggest challenges right now? What are your main pain points? What tasks would you like to automate? What are the things that causes errors? What kind of automations do you need? Is there anything else? Company name, address, phone number, email, logo. That's it. These are the things I need to build a successful automation project. If I collect these information out before the call, it just makes my life so much easier. All right. So, and I can automate a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to send them an onboarding form. So once they fill the onboarding form, this is where the magic happens. Yeah. You can create different assets. For example, if you're a marketing agency, you need to create a document that looks like this, If you are a law firm, you need to create certain code documents. And if you're a consultant, you need to create certain onboarding documents. It's so easy to automatically create these if you collect the information that you need in the onboarding form. So it's very simple. So all you need to do, so once the automation is done, it's very simple to do this thing, right? So go to your automation, create a new automation. The trigger what starts the automation could be form submission. If you're using Google Forms, let's just say it's Google Forms. It's going to use maybe Google Forms for this example. Google Forms, watch response. That's basically we are telling it that, hey, whenever a form is submitted, start this automation. Okay. I'm gonna choose this one. I'm gonna select all, and it's gonna give, and every time someone submits that form, it's gonna trigger this automation. Now the next steps, it's like how I showed you in the other section of the video where you create document templates. You can create Google Sheet templates like this. You use the section called create spreadsheet from template. You specify which, I'm having some issues with my document templates right now, and this step works. We've done this for the clients. Then we create a template like this. We put everything that changes in a curly bracket, and then from this module, when the form is submitted, we get all the details, we map it, we have the Google Sheet, and then we notify our team on Slack saying that, hey, this thing is created, and we put them in the drive folder that we need. It's that simple. The same thing happens for Google Documents as well, where you create something or create document from template, and I choose a template. I'm going to choose a template for you guys. In here, I'm going to choose a template for you just to show you guys how it works. Go to template. I'm going to go to automation templates. I'm going to go to AI contract agreement templates. And I want to choose, for example, my employee offer letter. So this is a document that I have for sending contracts, and I have curly brackets for a bunch of stuff like, hey, scope, date, company name, client country, all those things. And it shows up as an option like, address, city, title, type, start date. I map them in here. That document is created for you. And then all you need to do is just send an email once this document is created, and boom, you're good to go. And that's the final stage of this, whether it's KPI sheet, legal docs, scope of the work. All these things can be completely automated. Instead of spending 2 to 3 days creating all these things, wasting 40 hours per month in onboarding 10 clients or so, spending all these hours, you could just do this in less than 10 minutes. And that's exactly what we did for multiple agencies, a law firm. We took them from 3 hours in onboarding to 3 seconds by automating the entire process from collecting all these things. And that's when your team is ready for handover. They're ready to kick ass and give them insane amount of value. And because you did this in 10 minutes, compared to other competitors in 2 days, your client is going to be insanely happy with you to a point where they are going to refer you to multiple people. That's what I'm hoping for you. So just to recap on what we discussed, 5 simple steps. Step number 1 is having the automation triggered, whether from a CRM or from a form. I've explained those in detail as to which one to go with, and collecting the key details in that stage. Step number 2, once the details are collected, for the next stage is contracting. You send the contract and you send the invoice. You could use contracting capabilities within your CRM, or maybe from an e-signing tool, or maybe you don't need any of them and you just send the contract by PDF so they can sign it manually. Third step that we discussed is once the form is sent, so we create all the key assets such as Drive, Slack channel, onboarding form, sending them a welcome email, creating a project in your project management software, notifying your team, etc. And after stage 3, once they see the welcome email and they submit the onboarding form that's mentioned in the welcome email, then the next stage of automation starts. Create the documents that are needed for you to proceed further. For agencies, these are brand asset or branding Google Sheet, KPI tracking sheet. For law firms, it could be agreements and agreements and certain documents. For case, for consulting, a scope of work or some sort of other documents. You can automate these things using templatized Google Drive or Google Sheet or those things which we've covered towards the end of the video. And that's 5 simple steps that we've covered in this video, which completely automates your entire onboarding process from 3 hours per client to 3 seconds to 10 minutes. How beautiful is that? So if you watch till the end of the video and you're thinking, you know what, Fahad, there's too many steps involved, it seems a bit too technical, but I get it. If that's you, more than happy to have my team and I assist you in setting this entire automation up. If that's the case, link is in the description, book a call, and let me see if there's something that I can help you with. And even if it doesn't work out, by the end of the call, you will at least learn something new on what we can automate in your business. Now, before you go, I have one more interesting bonus for you. So I am building a private community just for business owners. They only talk about systems, automations, and AI agents that you can leverage to push your business to the next stage. We will be sharing templates, courses, weekly sessions to talk about these things, one-on-one Q&As with me on these calls. All those things are going to be covered in this community. The community is not live yet. However, I created a waitlist with limited spots. So anyone who joins the waitlist gets a bunch of early perks, locked in price of an early bird fee that's only applicable to those people who are in the waitlist. So if that's something you're interested in, there's going to be a waitlist form below. Click on it, submit your details, subscribe for more such stuff, and I will see you on the next video. Ciao.